And welcome to the No Show Sportscast first pitch face-off kickoff tip-off. Here for you, Matt Klein, Mo Hussain, Vancouver Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks are officially headed to the second round now. It looks like the Nashville Predators were nearly just a small wave in the ship going to and from the beginning of the playoffs all the way to the Stanley Cup final, because right now it looks like the Rangers are currently beating the Hurricanes. We need all that to go well because we need the Canucks and the Rangers to face off again like they did 30 years ago, man. So here we are.
Yes,
Nashville wasn't much of a problem. The Edmonton Oilers are public enemy number one as usual.
absolutely.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun series. But Mo, how are you doing, man? How has the week been?
Amazing, amazing right now, Matt. I'm as you can see, I'm beaming with excitement. I'm cutting you off multiple times here as usual, but the cutting off speed in terms of cutting off your sentences has definitely risen a lot more. I think over the past 3 minutes than they have in the history of the No Show podcast. However, I have to say, um, um, second round who? Second round who? Vancouver. That's who. Some stuff and Bruce Boudreau left and Rick Tocchet came in. NHL NPC looking ass dude came in the team. And we thought, oh, this guy's not going to be it. We don't know what's going to happen. Next thing you know, we're in the playoffs and the city is busting. People are going crazy. Go Canucks, go. You already know. Edmonton, just know. I was trying to figure out some bars, but I couldn't figure them out. But yeah, Edmonton, that should be easy work. Conference finals, I think I'm probably going to set up the will for the 2023-24 season when we face Colorado. But other than that, Bowman.
Yeah, it was kind of expected, especially since the Canucks were up 3-1. Maybe there could have been a little bit of trepidation because we're seeing Artur Shilov's way more than we want to. I understand he could win every single game against the Oilers. I still want Thatcher Demko, right? I still want the Vezina candidate, the
Yeah, because you're
finalist, right? Like
word.
that's the reality here, okay? Like I'm not settled on this guy, okay? He's the third string. Okay, no disrespect whatsoever, but we need Demko back. We need some answers. I understand we can't give away all the injuries all at once, but still it's frustrating to know that that is always looming. Of course, like losing game 5, we could have looked at that and thought, oh boy, this is going to go 7 because Nashville is not a team that's just going to lay over. We saw that at the end of the regular season, right? But here we are, the Canucks with a 1-0 win on Friday. Pius Suter is the hero. It seemed to be in the midst of a barrage of single goal games, 1-0, 2-0. I haven't seen a game that has accumulated more than 4 goals. It seems like in about 5 or 6 days now. But here we are. Edmonton's ready. Were you able to watch much of the Oilers? Because they basically made quick work of the LA Kings.
Absolutely not. In terms of the Edmonton Oilers, I am an exclusive Sportsnet Pacific subscriber and fan. So unfortunately, we are not subscribed to Sportsnet West and any other Canadian platform which does not showcase the Vancouver Canucks. I just wanted to give a response here to your Seeloff's criticism. Matt Klein, if you can get the job done, you keep it rolling. If you can get back to back, if you can get like low scoring goals or low scoring games, you keep it rolling. You keep pushing. If Drew like that'd be like saying, in my opinion, and I see what you're talking about, how it can be an issue, but when it becomes an issue, we make it an issue. As of right now, it's a perfect situation. I think Seeloff, shout out to the 2001 gang. Seeloff is doing a good job, and it's kind of like this. It's like, listen, Drew Bledsoe got the highest paid contract in NFL history, but then Tom Brady came along. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, except Demko is in the prime of his career and Bledsoe was on the way out. I mean, dude, there's I understand that a 1-0 game, it looks great. Like the resume, I think it was 33 saves or whatever, but I mean, this Oilers team has the firepower. It's gonna create some problems. Are you suggesting now that we know it's gonna get bad and we're just waiting until Shilov's just allows like 6 goals.
I think that's okay because I think that might be, and to your point, maybe the Bledsoe comparison. I meant it from a standpoint of even if your starter's a great player, if a backup is rolling right now and he's on his groove, you just let him keep rolling. You let Linsanity roll until Linsanity just can't roll no more. That's kind of the mentality when it comes to Seeloff. If Seeloff is getting past couple games, he's been able to get the job done. Obviously, the Oilers are a different beast, Connor McDavid, and the rest of the crew. But I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Like you said, it might have to be one of those situations where you just go until you just can't play anymore. And then you roll with Demko, who's, like you said, is a Vezina Trophy candidate. But the issue with putting in Demko right now, or even DeSmith, is that if you put one of these guys in right now and cut Seeloff's momentum without Seeloff showing a sign of weakness, you open the debate for what if Seeloff's just kept going? What if you just went with the hot hand? What if you just went with the hot hand as opposed to
Okay, if Seelov's kept going, he's gonna allow 2 power play goals to Zach Hyman. He's gonna allow a goal to Evander Kane, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, and Draisaitl. That's what's gonna happen if he keeps going, bro.
Who's to say? Why are you having these Matt Klein? I know the Gretzky thing is behind you. Maybe the Oilers aura is entering your brain right now. However, I mean, the past couple of days, he's been able to showcase that he can get the job done. He can start an NHL playoff game and move through the pressure. Like, consider this, right? Game 5, losing that game and heading back to Nashville, that's not an easy task. It's not an easy task to lose such a game and to come back from it on a shutout victory as well. So, I mean, I think maybe you're making the assumption that he's going to just casually let in this many goals, but I mean, it's yet to be seen. You roll with the hot hand until
we
know,
it
gets cold.
Bro, the hot hand. Demko was on the bench, I'm pretty sure, for game 5 and 6. Like, he was capable of doing it. And now we're looking at, I don't know if it's going to be 5 or 6 days off until game 1. For some ridiculous reason, it's been 2 full games, 2 full days now, and we haven't gotten the schedule out yet. So that's kind of really confusing.
Gary Bettman, y'all got to work on that. Yeah. Y'all got to work on that, bro. We got to get that schedule rolling next week.
It's a bad look for the NHL, especially since Boston's playing tomorrow. And they just played last night, and the Oilers haven't played since Wednesday, and we don't know when they're playing next.
That's a smart decision. Boston Bruins getting tired out and getting eliminated for the playoffs, that's good for business.
But that's not good for the league. You want those hockey markets and those well-known legacy franchises to do well. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just a matter of Florida having availability. I know Justin Timberlake was here last weekend, so maybe Rogers Arena isn't available. You know, it's just how it is, right? So,
it's like you're my mirror. Oh, my mirror staring back at me. But sorry, just to build on that Boston point, I'm speaking from a complete biased standpoint here. A Boston Bruins defeat is a nationwide victory.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the Leafs a little bit later, but I mean that the Bruins and the Panthers. I mean, I mean, I really hope that Vegas wins because that's just a better look. I think Vegas is a better competition for Colorado. So that's the final piece for the semifinals. Every single matchup is looking really, really great. We've got some rivals. We've got division rivals. We're all playing division teams here, but everything looks good. Like, this is great for business. Oilers and Canucks. Unfortunately, only one Canadian team is going to be coming out of that. Seeing as how the Jets and the Maple Leafs are out of it right now, but it's just what you want, especially for Western Canada, the Pacific Northwest in general. But I'm telling you, man, it's just not going to be the same with Edmonton. It's really not.
Why are you so down on Seelov's getting the job done again?
Well, I don't think Seelov's is gonna be able to match with Zach Hyman, who had 54 goals. He's gonna be pestering him in the crease. Their power play is gonna be dishing way more than Nashville. You're worried about Philip Forsberg, and that is now out of the equation. And the second best option was maybe Colton Sissons or Ryan O'Reilly. I mean, the elite amount of options that Edmonton has. McDavid has had a mid-season. He only had 31 goals. Sure, he had 100 assists, but we're looking at a team that could easily make the Canucks look like an embarrassment. But I'm not saying I do think that the Canucks can contend with them. I don't want to make predictions just yet because we haven't even seen them play yet. We don't even know when they're playing, for crying out loud. So it's just a matter of firepower, defensive intuition. I know that the Canucks defensively can lock it down, but she loves is that question mark goaltending wise. Obviously, the Oilers have just as much of a problem defensively because I don't think anybody wants to put money on Simon Skinner every time, not even Oilers fans. And their
Okay.
defense is shaky because their defense is offensive minded. All right, Matthias Ekholm, Evan Bouchard, these guys. I mean, it's been a huge glaring flaw for the Oilers for many years now, and it's probably driving McDavid nuts. So with that said, I'm liking the Canucks defensively, but that she loves. I mean, it's hard to shake. It's hard to
What
shake
is
that.
has you what has shown you that Seahawks can't handle the pressure?
I don't think he can handle the pressure because he couldn't handle it in Game 5, as well as a matter of Nashville being completely uh
Well,
incapable of scoring on the same level the Oilers are.
but the Nashville, okay, Game 5. Correct me if I'm wrong. The first goal was a power play goal, so that wasn't even like, sure, there's elements of you should have saved that, but
Hmm.
letting in only 2 goals. I think the score was 2-1. Am I mistaken on that? I think it was a 2-1 score for Game 5. Letting in only 2 goals is a pretty good goals against. Am I?
Yeah.
Is that not like letting in that? So I'm just curious. I can see your point from like having the most experienced guy, but the guy hasn't shown any degree of like not being able to handle that pressure. And so what would makes you think that Demko obviously can because he has the experience, but Seeloffs is the guy who's pushed us over the edge right now. You're getting a 1-0 shutout in Game 6 away, even if it's a national, even if it's not, and you played less than 10 National Hockey League games in the regular season. That
Mhm.
is a big deal. That shows that you are capable of at least being in net. Once he shows that he lets in about 4 goals, Matt Klein, you are absolutely right. 4 or 5 goals over 2 games, let him out, bring Demko in, whatever. I think the biggest concern on my end is offensively. Offensively, I think this team, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. A National Hockey League game averages 25 to 30 shots. There have been multiple games where the Canucks have been getting 20 shots, maybe less, just around that. And we need to keep that firing. I'll be the first to admit, Game 4, Brock Besser, bless his heart. Thank God for that. But miracles come every once in a while. So I think maybe where we disagree, and I don't want to, obviously, I think we're just going to run circles as opposed to, I think we're both set on our pointed our flags at this. I think our point of disagreement isn't necessarily like that the Canucks have a weakness, but I think that weakness is offensively as opposed to the goaltending, which has shown over the past few days that he's able to handle that pressure to a degree.
Yeah, it can definitely handle it. I do agree the offense is gonna it's really gonna be tough. And just
Yeah,
getting the offensive production. I mean, I don't know where Pedersen has been. He has not looked like himself. And if he's gonna
absolutely not.
be the guy, if he's gonna be like the second option or the first option, he's gotta be taking more shots. He's gotta be. I mean, I know it's tough for a guy like him to be physical, but you got to do a little bit more if all you have is skill. You have to be gritty. You have to be basically like the rest of the roster.
Yeah, Pedersen. That's the one. That's the person that I've been like in terms of my own group chats that I've thrown. I've heard like several things about me maybe not being 100%, but it's still like the fact that Zadorov is a better offensive player than you in this series is like the guy's like a 6'5" tank. I get it, but Elias Pedersen just got signed. I mean, what the SkyTrain budget for Chilliwack, and he just got that as a contract, and so I think there definitely needs to be room for Elias Pettersson. But like you said, defensively, we're on a good track, and I think we're able to contend with Edmonton. But where we lack is this ability to close and close, which Game 4 we saw it. We saw it, obviously throughout the series, but we can't only be getting 20 shots. We need to be shooting more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah, that I mean that has I don't want to say it's always been like a problem with the Canucks, but it's really a matter of like are the big guns, are the guys like Miller, Besser, and Pedersen, Lindholm, Garland, are these guys Hoglander, are they going to be putting the puck on net as much as they have to be? as much as the team needs them to be, because this production, like it's not sustainable. You mentioned if in the first couple of the games Sheloffs allows 4 or 5 goals, that's going to look bad. Well, if the Canucks can't get, I don't know, 20, if they can't get the shots on goal up to 20 by the start of the third period, well, then they're just looking like, well, okay, our shots, what the more shots you have, the more goals you're going to get because the more
Yeah,
opportunities you're going to have. Now, defensively, Nashville, it's going to be it's hard to tell because the Oilers looked so confident and poised in that LA series, but I'm not so sure their defense is gonna be looking like that because the Canucks are a much more tough customer than the LA Kings. Yeah, and I'm also liking the way that the Canucks have actually handled Edmonton so far this series. Let's see. They played on April 13th and the Canucks won 3-1. They won 6-2 in November, and then they played them back-to-back games in October. It looks like to open the season. They beat them 4-3 and 8-1. So the last time the Oilers beat the Canucks was on January 21st, 2023. So they've been able to handle them. Now the Oilers had a bad start to the year, but they're looking a lot better, obviously. Uh things turned around. McDavid had that slow start, but and Skinner has been locked in. So there's that. There's a lot of components in here. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this game is gonna go, but I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be like each game for me, it's just like look like thinking about game one, it's just I don't know. It feels like a toss up here.
what's your prediction in terms of the series outcome?
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to
Hello,
know. I don't know exactly. I do think that the Oilers
do you hear me by any chance?
I
Hello,
don't
hello.
know. Game
Satellite,
game game one is going
satellite.
to be a is
Tell us 101. Hello, hello.
hmm?
Sorry,
Game
one
one
second.
is going
You're
to be a
cutting off on
toss
my end.
up.
Sorry.
That's the reality.
So,
Like
okay, now we
we need to
now I
know
hear you.
who's setting the stage here. Is Shelov's going to play great? I don't want to keep pointing back to him, but also like the production offensively, the shots on goal, how well Edmonton's defense is going to be, and then of course special teams, right? Like that's a huge area as well. I'm confident the Canucks can win game one though. I really think having home ice is going to be important. Even if Shelov's allows like 3 or 4 goals, I think that the Canucks can match that. Like they're capable of scoring that many on Skinner. So I think game one, the Canucks are going to take it 4-2, but 4-2, 4-3, maybe 5-3, something like that. But Edmonton is going to be neck and neck with them, I think.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. I personally, I believe in this team. I believe in the Canucks. I think that Pedersen, even though I'll admit that there are red flags, like get it together, bro. Hopefully these next 5 days, they let him kind of rejuvenate himself and do that. I think Puce. I just want to give a big shout out to Puce Suter because I heard that he's been eating out of a straw the past like 5 days or something like that, past week or so. So him securing the series clinching goal was a pretty big deal. Shout out to Puce. But I believe it. Go Canucks, go y'all. Go Canucks. No, I think that we're on a we're this train is riding. I think we've been exceeding expectations throughout the whole year. And I'm not gonna just stop, thinking like starting to think crazy rational right now. Because if you told us by the beginning of this year, would the Canucks be the first, we would have been like, hell no. Will the Canucks be the best team in the Pacific Division? We would have been like, hell no. But they managed to do it. They managed to pull through. So I definitely think having Connor McDavid, like the Lionel Messi of the NHL, doesn't make it easier. But I think that Canucks in 7, we're going to the conference finals. Probably going to get swept. But hey, you know what? Maybe by that point we might end up showing that we might win the whole series. But Canucks, we're taking it. Western Canada, crown is ours. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I hope you're right too. It's been it, like I when the calendar year started, it was a matter of the Canucks changing their identity from having a hot start to being contenders because they were the top team in the league for quite a while. And then what happened was everybody in the Eastern Conference started to become elite and they didn't lose. So there's all of that to consider. Colorado had an up and down year, I think, but in the playoffs they're a different beast. They showed that against Winnipeg. Um, the Boston Bruins beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 7 Saturday night, and it was a
Boo!
2-1 overtime winner by Pasternak. And the only way that Boston was able to win was Toronto had to take a lead, and then they had to blow it. So either the Bruins were going to blow a 3-1 lead like they did last year in the series, but Toronto, they score, they get a goal. Matthews dishes it to Nylander, and Nylander scores to make it 1-0, about 5 or 6 minutes left. And then Boston ties it up a minute later. And then they go to overtime and win immediately. Pasternak scores. So the Leafs are now the team has got to be blown up. What do you see as a possibility right now for the Leafs this offseason? What, like, this is not good, right?
No, this is not good. And my sincerest condolences to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I can't believe I'm saying that. However, my sincerest condolences to the Toronto Maple Leafs. To me, my philosophy, the state of Massachusetts canceled. No, I'm buying, but I'm buying it. I'm returning it. Not at all. It doesn't even exist in my vocabulary. The letter Boston. No, that team's giving me that state, that city, too much PTSD in sports. I can't do it. So I was, it felt weird, but "Go Leafs, go" was coming out of my mouth last night during the third period. When they scored, I was literally looking at the clock. I was going 10 minutes, and it took them just a minute and a half. It took them a minute and a half to blow it, and then they get to overtime, and I'm just like, and to give to their credit, even after Boston scored, it wasn't like a 2013 situation. Boom, boom, boom. They still looked like they had a little bit of control, but I don't know. I think I was just talking about this with my buddy, and I don't think it's a matter of blowing it up. It's a matter of retooling, but retooling the major pieces. Meaning, I think what they're lacking, and I'm not and when I say this, I'm not talking about Joe Thornton, 42-year-old guy that looks like he's in a senior home type of winner. And even Joe Thornton has never won anything. I think you need a winner. And you need a guy that's done it before, been there, done that, in his 30s. Tavares is not that guy. I'm sorry to tell you guys. Austin Matthews, I mean, just quit the GQ shoots, brother. Mitch Marner, William Nylander. William Nylander came clutch. I'm not going to give him any flack. I don't think it's a goaltending problem. I think Samsonov did all right last night. But it's a matter of, and I'm going to get to my point in terms of names. You need to bring a guy who's been there, done it, and can handle the pressure. Now, I have a realistic, and I want to see your thoughts on this. I have a realistic solution and a dream solution. A realistic solution that you're not going to like, by the way, is called doing your best to bring a guy like Steven Stamkos on their team. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out with this. You need a guy who's been there, done that. Steven Stamkos has a couple cups under his resume. He's been there, been in those pressure situations. You need to bring a guy like that. Okay? Now, keep in mind, I'm kind of sort of getting back into hockey right now, so I'm a little bit of a casual. Forgive me here. But you need to bring a guy who's been there, done that. Steven Stamkos or a guy of his equivalent on defense. Something like that, but a guy who's been there, done that. You can't, like everybody on the Leafs, sorry to tell you guys, a bunch of bums. A bunch of bums. Like, you guys can win games, but when it matters most, you guys stick up the joint like worse than a skunk in a forest in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's bad. Now that's a scenario where I think, okay, it's realistic. Where if I were like Walt Disney and I could write the script, and you're gonna laugh at this, probably, I would say if you can find a way to bring Sidney Crosby to the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. And not only and here's the incentive for that. Sidney Crosby, I know you have a lot of things to say about this. Sidney Crosby, you know what Sidney Crosby brings? And I'll say this and keep this in mind, Matt Klein. Sidney Crosby's resume has what? The greatest goal in Canadian sports history. The greatest moment in Canadian sports, probably.
It wasn't even in the NHL.
But Canadian sports, that's probably the greatest moment in Canadian sports. 3 Stanley Cups, including a back-to-back, and a Stanley Cup with the Toronto Maple Leafs. That would be like he have to be in contention with one of the greatest of all time. However, the point of the matter is those are just 2 ideas of how to execute this. My game plan would be, I don't think you should blow it up. I just think you should retool your major pieces and bring in guys who've been there, done that, so that you can further, because it seems like a mental thing. They can beat Boston. They can beat these teams. They can do it. They have the talent. They have the skill. It's just up here. It's just up here. That's just my mentality on it.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously Stamkos, that's a wild one. Crosby even more, but I agree. They need a guy like Stamkos. They need a leader. They need a guy who can back check. They need a guy who has just a insurmountable IQ of the game that is going to it's just gonna spread into the locker room because that team, they do not have a leader. They don't care about they don't care about losing. When they lose, they don't care. They're as emotional as they do when they win. John Tavares just does not have it anymore. I mean, extending him for what it's worth. I mean, like he is not worth $11 million in 2024. Sheldon Keefe is gone. Mitch Marner's gone. Samsonov is gone. Kyle Shanahan might be gone. It's just I agree. Blow it up. I would like okay. Well, I agree. Retool the big pieces like you were mentioning, not necessarily blow it up. But if the big question last year was is Nylander going to come back? And he did. Was Matthews going to come back? He did. And so here we are. Here we are with Marner, who is he has a no trade. He's probably going to, or he has a like he can nullify a move if he wants to. But that's just another thing with these guys. They all think that they're better than they are, and I just don't see this team being able to contend this year. I think last year was their best chance. Maybe even the year before that, in 2022, that was their best chance. They lost to a very, very beatable Bruins team that is clearly missing Patrice Bergeron. Pasternak finally shows up in the series in Game 7. And then you mentioned Crosby going to the Leafs. I mean, there's just no way that's going to happen. But certainly somebody needs to come in, create a veteran presence. Maybe it's trading for draft picks, but with Marner. But the reality is the Leafs have got to win now. I said this in 2019 about the Tampa Bay Lightning. And obviously, yes, they got swept by Columbus. It was a huge humiliation. But the reason that I knew that the Lightning had to win like immediately was because Braden Point, he needed to be extended, and they weren't able to there's no way they were going to be able to afford to keep him. So and he was one of their best players at the time. So you have to notice that this year, last year, and the year before that, the Leafs they were great. The window might be done for them because this was their opportunity, and unfortunately, Joseph Woll, their primary starting goaltender, Samsonov came in for him because Woll was injured yesterday. That was a huge mistake. A huge problem that they had was just never really having a number one goalie. And you know what's weird about the NHL is that goalies are only they appear to only just be brought up draft picks, maybe prospects. They come in from overseas, but no one really like trades for goalies. No one makes big signings for goalies. When was the last time a good goalie was on a bad team? Like a good goalie makes the team great. You have a great reach if your goalie's reach is larger. So
I mean, Carey Price.
yeah, Carey Price. The only great year that he had was in 2010 and in 2021, as far as the team's success. But the guy
Yeah,
himself, Hart Trophy winner. When was the last time a goalie won a Hart Trophy? But
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, Carey Price. I mean, they should have just helped him out a whole lot more. Montreal had a lot
Yeah.
of potential there, but they were just in a bunch of old greasers like Brian Giunta and Mike Camilleri. I mean, for crying out loud, you got to help them out a little bit more than that, right? So. But yeah, it's looking interesting. Let's touch a little bit. We got a little bit of time left. Let's talk about the Knicks, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Go New York. Go New York. Go baby.
Let's talk
It's
about the
over.
Knicks. Who are they playing again? I forget now.
Oh, we're playing. I think we're playing the Pacers.
Pacers. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's happening, Matt Klein. It's happening. It's
Yeah.
happening.
That's that's gonna be a wild one. I really thought that the Sixers were the best match for the Knicks. They certainly could have beat them because as we saw in Game 5, wow, this is like the Canucks now. We saw in Game 5 a little bit of falling off only because it was in New York, and Maxi had that unbelievable game.
Tyrese, Tyrese Maxey. That's it. There is
Yeah,
no
exactly. He was the
there's
only
no
one. He was really the only guy. But what do you need from the Knicks to contend against the Pacers?
okay, here's what we need. And the Pacers series, I'm sorry, the Sixers series, amazing. Jalen Brunson, incredible. Everybody else, amazing. Great work by the team. But we need Jalen Brunson needs help. I think that's the biggest thing that I would say with Randall out. Like Jalen Brunson needs help, and he needs a guy to put. We need a Matthew Dellavedova 2.0. That's what we need. We need a guy that usually isn't this good, and then he takes some sort of Space Jam, steroid, something to turn him into a transformer, because that's the only thing that's going to take the Knicks right now. We're going to beat the Pacers. There's no discussion about that. We're going to beat the Pacers. I'm not even going to entertain a discussion where the Knicks don't beat the Pacers because of my Knicks delusion. Because when you're a New York Knicks fan, you have to infuse a little bit of delusion into your blood and into your psychology when it comes to sports. So my delusion tells me we're going to sweep the Pacers. However, that delusion does not carry into the conference finals when we face the Boston Celtics. And when we do face the Boston Celtics, I will eliminate basketball from my vocabulary because I do not want to see the destruction that is Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and the rest of the game. There we go. I think as of today, I heard that the Cleveland Cavaliers won, so that's interesting. That's an interesting matchup for Boston. They're going to be deciding which broom to use for that. I suggest you go into probably go for like a premium broom at what do you call it? Somewhere like a Save on Foods, probably like a superstore, better than dollar store. I heard they work better. Anyways, I would say that the Knicks right now, we're looking amazing. We're exceeding expectations, but Brunson, he's amazing. The Mavericks, Mark Cuban should genuinely I get it. You guys are playing amazing, but imagine Kyrie, Doncic, and Brunson, right? It would have been over for them. But what did Mark Cuban do? I don't want to pay Jalen Brunson. Guess what? We do. We do. I know I'm wearing Mavericks colors right now, but we do as in New York. So you know what? We're getting the W. We're gonna beat the Pacers, but Jalen Brunson needs some help. Needs some help. That's what I gotta say about that.
Yeah, Brunson, he's turning into like this unguardable character that I remember there was a time I think Maxi, Oubre, and Embiid, they were all trying to guard him. He still got his shot up and a foul on top of that in Wells Fargo Center for Game 6. I mean, he put on obviously he put on a huge show there, and the help is gonna have to come. It's showing up in different ways. It's showing up in guys like Deuce McBride and DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo's obviously been great all season, but yeah, one of the biggest knocks was like Josh Hart's shooting because he wasn't making his free throws. He was rebounding, he was passing, he was playing great defense, he was deflecting balls, but the reality was, yeah, you need to knock down your free throws. So, we are still trying to make sense out of this OG Anunoby trade because it looked pretty tough for the Raptors to give up one of their bright young stars. And I mean, RJ Barrett, maybe he had a little bit more of a ceiling than OG as far as like offensive goes, being I don't know. It really depended what the Raptors needed when the Knicks needed, but the Raptors are completely just rebuilding Scotty to the future, trying to turn Scotty into Giannis, trying to surround him with, I don't know, just random pieces like I mean RJ Barrett, he has a great ceiling, but the reality is that OG is ready. He's here now. He is injury prone, but I like him to defend the number one option. And with the Pacers, the problem with the Pacers is that they cannot defend. They score 123 points a game and they allow 122. So that is like the
Nice. Like
complete,
that. Like
yeah,
that.
that is great. That is great for you and the fellow Manhattaners. But the Knicks, the Knicks are going to be able to score. They're going to be able to put up a lot. I just don't see Turner being able to guard Mitchell Robinson with lobs or Hartenstein. He'll be able to pass plenty. And then you've got OG probably guarding Tyrese. Halliburton, they go from one Tyrese to another. How about that? And then, yeah, Josh Hart and Brunson, they're going to be able to have whatever they want. Siakam, another guy here. How about the Knicks? They go from Lowry to Siakam. I mean, what's next? Did Jonte
Or
Porter
DeRozan,
sign up with the Celtics? Is he going to be there somehow?
Jonte Porter. I mean, are we talking about the G League Celtics? Or are we talking about the prison Celtics? I don't know. It
Hmm.
depends on where he's going. But shout out to Jonte Porter. Hopefully that situation gets figured out. The point is, with the New York Knicks, I think that OG Anunoby, great at observation. I think OG is like a baby Kawhi, great defensive player, all that kind of stuff. And if he could, this is the series. Like this is the time where OG can take that next step that everybody knows he has. OG Anunoby, we traded RJ. I think RJ for Anunoby would have been even. But RJ and Emmanuel Quickly, who if Emmanuel Quickly was playing in the series, Knicks in 5, easy. Or Knicks even in 4, it would have been over because he's that good. But I would say that right now, with the Pacers, we can handle them. They're light work. Pascal Siakam, shout out to Siakam. He's okay, but I mean, you went from having what do you call Osmos in Toronto to what in Indiana? Like what Shake? I don't even think they have Shake Shack in Indiana. Like come on, bro. So I don't know how he's gonna deal without that, that Middle Eastern food, that Mississauga, that Brampton, that that Scarborough, that Toronto man's energy. There's none of that energy in Indiana. So hopefully, Siakam, he's a good player, but I don't think he's gonna get it done with the Knicks. But and can we also give a shout out to the real sixth man, which is the Knicks fan base? That's the real sixth man in this whole discussion because the Philadelphia 76ers arena was basically just an extent. It's like Madison Square Garden light. It was Madison Square Garden light. So, the Sixers fan base is doing great. I think we're going to be able to push Indiana. But if we face Boston, again, Boston, again, Boston, again, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it looks like a good route to the finals because the Pacers are probably not as capable of beating the Knicks as the Sixers were. I just don't see it. I see the Celtics being the only true problem. Other than Cleveland, it depends how good they're going to be able to contend with the Celtics and Porzingis' health. That's also going to be important to look at. But I mean, this Eastern Conference, I mean, this is the year. And one of the biggest problems that the Knicks had was people saw Embiid returning and they saw Randall was out. So it was easier to just forget about much when all you have is 5 seconds to give a prediction about the Knicks and Sixers. So you would think about those two things, making the Knicks underdogs, but the Pacers are going to be monumentally underdogs in this series. Like if they were to win more than 2 games, I would be absolutely shocked because
I was thinking, go, sorry, go, continue.
there's no way they're going to be able to win a single game in the Garden. Like you were
Yeah.
mentioning, the fans were huge. They were able to travel to Philadelphia quite easily and just take over that arena and cheer on Brunson, give him MVP votes. All that stuff was huge for them.